It was Andy Warhol who said one's company, two's a crowd. And in this short video, I want to talk to you about the differences between being interviewed on your own, what's called a 1+1, or being interviewed alongside other people, a 1+2, a 3, a 1+4 or more. So the first thing to consider is that in a 1+2, you have, in effect, potentially half the time available to you. If on your own you were going to be interviewed for, let's say, 3 minutes, you had the full 3 minutes minus the journalist's questions. But in a 1+2, if the journalist, if the reporter, if the presenter is even-handed, you'll get a minute and a half, and your co-contributor will get a minute and a half. And it's really important, therefore, that you manage your time carefully. It's even more important for you to deliver your key messages succinctly. The other thing to consider is that the other co-contributor could be for you or against you. We rarely, in broadcasting, in journalism, invite two people on to say exactly the same thing. That would be preposterous, wouldn't it? If you think about politics on national radio or television, we have in the red corner a Labour politician and, like a boxing match, in the blue corner a Conservative politician. We light the blue touch paper, we retire to a safe distance whilst those two politicians go at it head to head. So is your co-contributor going to be, like it is in politics, against you, in which case you might get a lot of pushback, especially if your position is really contested, is really controversial. And then there are those circumstances in which your co-contributor is on your side but is saying something slightly different to you. So let's think of an example. You're from a charity and you've got a service user giving his or her personal story, something that tugs at the, tapping my heart here, the emotional heartstrings, and you're giving the bigger picture in a slightly more aloof and considered way. And in these circumstances, when you've got two different things to say about the same subject, you're broadly speaking on the same side, you need to make sure that you don't tread on one another's toes, that you don't steal one another's thunder. And that needs you to have a good conversation with that person in advance. And of course, for both of you to be able to handle the media process, the interview process, so that if the journalist asks the wrong person a question, the other person can leap in and respond to that question accordingly. Now, of course, there are lots of other things to consider. How, for example, to handle a really angry co-contributor that's, wagging their finger at you. Do you rise to the bait? Probably not a good idea. Do you kind of lean back away from the argument? Again, not necessarily a good idea. And we'll be covering things like this in future videos. But for now, bye-bye.